13th, 2026, hundreds of Taylor Swift fans descended on Watch Hill, Rhode Island, cameras ready, friendship bracelets traded, certain that was the day. The seaside estate, the intimate ceremony, the fairy tale ending constructed from 3 years of Instagram posts, lyric analysis, and parasocial investment neuroscientists are only beginning to understand. Nothing happened. 3 weeks later, on July 3rd, a jumbotron outside Madison Square Garden lit up in purple with the words, "Just and T married," and the wedding had taken place not in a quiet Rhode Island field, but inside the world's most famous arena, in front of 1,000 guests, with Stevie Nicks performing and Adam Sandler officiating. Here is the psychological paradox. The fans who got it wrong weren't irrational. Their brains were doing exactly what human brains are built to do, and Taylor Swift had handed them the perfect architecture for a very specific kind of collective psychological experience. One that ends in surprise. And your nervous system, if you've ever been completely certain about something and then had reality redirect you entirely, already knows exactly what that feels like. Let's start with what was happening in those brains camped outside Watch Hill, because this isn't just celebrity gossip. When the mind builds a strong prediction, assembling enough evidence into a confident expectation, the brain's reward system fires in anticipation, not in response to the actual event. Neuroscientist Wolfram Schultz at Cambridge demonstrated through decades of research that dopamine peaks during the anticipation of a reward, not its delivery. The Swifties in Rhode Island weren't just hoping. Their brains were already in a reward state, feeling the chemical hit of something they believed was imminent. When it didn't arrive, that wasn't just disappointment. That was a dopamine crash, a measurable neurological event. And here's what makes that crash interesting rather than painful. It's the same mechanism that makes mystery compelling. Cognitive psychologists call this the prediction error, the gap between what the brain expected and what actually occurred. Research at the Max Planck Institute for Human Brain and Cognitive Sciences shows that large prediction errors don't just deflate us. They increase attention, recalibrate mental models, and make the corrected version of events far more memorable than if things had unfolded as expected. Taylor Swift's MSG wedding wasn't just a surprise. It was, neurologically, an unforgettable one. And that's not accidental when you're talking about an artist whose entire creative identity is built around the reveal. But this isn't only about Swifties. It's about a mechanism we all share. Every time you were certain a conversation was going one way and it went another. Every time you built a story about how something would feel and reality handed you something different. That recalibration, updating your internal model of the world, is one of the most psychologically significant experiences a human brain undergoes. Research on cognitive flexibility suggests people who tolerate prediction errors without shutting down show greater emotional resilience over time. The Rhode Island fans who showed up, got it wrong, and watched MSG light up purple weren't failed predictors. Unwittingly, they were training their brains. I want to ask you something directly. Have you ever been completely certain about a relationship, a job, a decision, and had the ground shift entirely? Not devastatingly, but in that disorienting, clarifying way where the world suddenly looked sharper because your assumptions were gone? Tell me in the comments. For me, It was a career move I had mapped for 2 years. Every signal pointed the same direction. Then, in one conversation, the entire map dissolved. It took weeks to understand that the dissolution was, in some ways, the point. The clearing is often how something better gets built. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, I'm going to show you what Taylor Swift's choice of MSG over Rhode Island reveals about a principle that explains not just celebrity weddings, but why the moments in your life that surprised you most tend to be the ones that changed you deepest. So why MSG? Taylor Swift could have married anywhere. She owns a Tribeca compound, a Rhode Island estate, a Nashville home. The conventional read is that she loves New York, explicitly with a song called Welcome to New York from her 2014 album 1989, and a well-documented history of 4th of July celebrations her fans tracked closely. But the psychological read is more interesting. MSG is not a romantic venue in any traditional sense. It is a performance space where crowds go to be transformed by something larger than themselves. Choosing it for the most intimate ritual of her life creates what social psychologists call context incongruence, a mismatch between the emotional script of the setting and the emotional script of the event. Research on memory encoding shows context incongruence strengthens how an event is stored because the brain works harder to reconcile what it's experiencing with what it expected. You don't forget the thing that didn't fit the frame. There is something neurologically significant in the scale, too. 1,000 guests inside an arena Swift has performed in 8 times over a 20-year career. Just and T married, broadcasting across Midtown screens while the Empire State Building turned blue and a rainstorm rolled in over Manhattan. This is not intimacy in any conventional sense. But intimacy isn't only about smallness. Research by psychologist Barbara Fredrickson at the University of North Carolina on what she calls positivity resonance shows emotional connection can be amplified by shared witnessing. Having your most private moment held simultaneously by a community. The 1,000 guests inside MSG, the crowd behind barricades in 100-degree heat, and fans watching from every time zone were all part of the same resonance field. The wedding was intimate not in spite of its scale, but because of what that scale represented. The full, unguarded acknowledgement of a love lived publicly. And that, the willingness to let the external expression be exactly as large as the internal truth, is one of the most psychologically courageous things a person can do. Most of us compress what we show the world to fit what we think others find acceptable. Taylor Swift, on July 3, 2026, did the opposite. She expanded the container to match what was actually true inside her. And 135 police officers, 1,000 guests, a purple jumbotron, and a very surprised Rhode Island fan base were the evidence. If this video resonated with you, if it gave you language for something you felt but never fully named, please subscribe, because that's exactly what this channel is here to do. And if you want to go deeper on the psychology of surprise, identity, and living honestly at scale, hit the join button to become a channel member and support these deep dives. Before you go, type one word in the comments. One word for that feeling when reality surprises you into something better than what you planned. The word is redirect. Type it below, because if life has ever rerouted you somewhere truer than where you thought you were headed, I want to know.